This not my kingdom, boy. This not my kingdom, boy. I'm aiming at demons, boy. I do not see these boys. They're living for Lincolns, they money dry up and start shrinking. My team full of lions to find. Come to your city and spark up a ride. Eating these beats like I'm needing a diet. Shout out to Disky and shout out to Tyus. Yeah, we gotta go, we gotta go. Taking the message from coast to the coast. My trust in the kingdom, my hope in the most.
What's good, NMKBH Nation, man? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of NMKBH Talk. Man, we love you guys, and we're very excited for this episode. This wraps up the segment that we've been doing on love, and we couldn't think of any other passage to end this segment on than this one right here. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Let's read it. If I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secrets, plans, and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about the injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless, but love will last forever. Now, our knowledge is partial and incomplete, and even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the whole picture. But when the time of perfection comes, these partial things will become useless. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror, but then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. Three things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love.
Woo!
Man.
It's just, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, just like it said, there ain't much to say about it. Like, love, just like we've been talking about, man. Love. And nothing else matters but love.
Yep. There's nothing we can add to it. Like, Paul wrote this so perfectly. It walks it down so clear. It gives you all those examples in the beginning of you can be doing all these things that seem great amongst people and that people could clap for you and say good job and stuff for. But no matter what you're doing, if love does not exist in it, it does not matter.
Doesn't matter. I mean, you could hit every charity. You could preach 1,000 sermons, do all type of charity work, go to all type of whatever you want to do, man. You can do whatever is seemed to known as being good for the Lord or doing something for the Lord. But if there's no love behind it, it literally means nothing.
Like, it means absolutely nothing. And then he goes on to tell you what love looks like. And this is something that we have to be aware of. Because if what we're doing doesn't consist of patience and kindness, and if it is jealous, boastful, proud, and all the other things he goes on the list, it's not love. If it doesn't coincide with what Paul said love was, we're not truly showing love.
Yes, sir. I mean, a lot of this stuff is hard to do, but I mean, like he said, it's what love is. I mean, not being envious, being patient, not holding record of being wrong, which is a hard thing for people to do because we like to hold grudges. But not having a record of being wrong, not being joyful. I mean, not being proud or loving or rejoicing in injustice. Just all those things he named in there, man. It's what love is. And if you're not doing those things, you're not showing love.
And we see that's the most important thing. So we need to look at our lives and see if the way we're living, if it's showing these things. If people that just see us on a daily basis, can they read verses 4 through 7 and say, oh yeah, that describes Tyus. That describes D.
Yeah.
That describes you. Can they read that and say that? No, none of us is perfect. I know if someone asked me, right, if someone just was watching me forever, they'd be like, "Oh no, that's not him." We're gonna work on it every single day until that does describe us, because that's what God wants us to be. That's where God wants us to be at.
Yes, sir.
And then that little next segment, I love it because he talks about how, like, the beginning, the stuff he mentioned at the beginning of the chapter, it's not useless right now. Right now, it's fine or whatever. Like, it's what we got to do. Like, we have to preach the gospel. We have to get the gospel out there. We have to do all these things. Like, that's part of it. But the fact that he tags on there, but if it's not filled with love, it's completely useless, because on the day Christ comes back and everything's complete. And I love how the second to last verse, when he says, "All that I know is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely." And it's just like, we have no way of being on this earth and knowing everything that's going on. We're never going to understand that and know it. But what we can do on this earth is we can love. So when God knows, so whenever we have our little pieces of information, the pieces of stuff that God has put for us to do, that's cool, because my piece is my piece, Tyus' piece is his piece, your piece is your piece. But what brings all them pieces together is the love all of us share. And that's what's really going to get this message to everybody that really needs it, so we can build not our kingdom, but his.
Yes, sir. And just like you said, man, don't take that, what we were saying at the beginning, as us trying to belittle all the different ministries and all the different tools that the Lord has given us, like speaking in tongues, prophecies, all those, because those are tools that we need for everyday life in the world. But like you said, it just goes to show how big love is, because like you said, at the end of the day, one day all those are going to fade. Tongues are going to cease. None of that stuff is going to matter when the perfect comes, when Jesus comes. None of that stuff all that stuff will end. It's all in part. But the one thing that's going to be forever is love.
Thanks. And that's exactly how we ended it. Verse 13, 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. It says faith, hope, and love. It doesn't say long sermons. It doesn't say speaking in tongues. It doesn't say all. It says faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love.
The greatest of these is love.
He walked it right through it. Can't add nothing to it. Can't take nothing away from it, man.
No, sir. I ain't going to try to mess it up, just like you said, man.
So that brings us to the challenge. This week, we are challenging you guys, and we're going to do this too, to read 1 Corinthians chapter 13 every single morning for 21 days and see how your life is transformed. See how the way you love people is transformed, and just really see how God chooses to use you. Now, you don't got to stop after 21 days, because on day 21 and you realize the improvement, keep reading so that you can see. And then day 60, it's like, man. And then day 100, like, woo, and just keep going like that, because, man, if you read this every day, this chapter every day, and you really write these words on your heart, whenever you're feeling impatient and you're not feeling kind, that chapter is gonna come to you. It's gonna come to your mind. All those things gonna come to your mind. So we want to challenge you to read 1 Corinthians chapter 13 every morning for 21 days. NMKBH, that wraps up another episode of NMKBH Talk.
You know how he moving.
We love you guys.
This not my kingdom, boy.
This.
Yeah.
And we're going to see y'all next week.
Yeah.
NMKBH.
Yeah. NMKBH.
Yes, sir, skis.